Fine. Now we will take up Taylor and Fayol, like how Taylor and Fayol are different from each other. So there are few things which actually are aligned with the organization. Now, these are in terms of perspective, like how do you see a particular management system? Then there are the focal points, like how do you arrange the things? How do you see that what will be your long-time goal? How you will be aligned with the various objectives, then kind of like orientation which you should have. Some of the systems they start directly from the manufacturing procedure, some would be just directly onto the marketing function. So this is how like you orient your company likewise. And then how do you see the results? Because it is very necessary that you tune into the department, like whether what are the objectives being achieved, what are the various implementations, and what are the controls. Okay, so here, like, see how they stand differently. What does Taylor say and what does Fayol say? So Taylor is his perspective is more of it is on the shop floor, and whereas Fayol is into the management. Now, how does they like focus its simplification and standardization, where Fayol is doing it mostly on the observing and certain principles. Now, here uh, what is the simplification and standardization? It is the principles, it is the procedures. But here, Fayol would be only observing certain principles, like what are the fine tuning of the system, what are all related to the particulars of a system. Now, here, like, how will you tune in for an orientation? It is production and engineering department. Fayol would be finely tuned in with the managerial functions. It would be management by objectives. So all the managers would be functioning with the Fayol's way of theory. Okay. So what is the scientific observation and measurement or results? How they are tuned in? So it is scientific observation and measurement. Like all the time you are observing it, measuring it, and then taking it to the further procedure. While Fayol, what will it do? It's by personal experiences. Like I said, learning and experiences are the most. Like managers, what they do, they learn it. Nobody teaches them. So they're all experiential learning. So they are then translated and then founded as the propounded theory. Like this is the universal truth. This is what it happens, and this is how it is like. So this is what Fayol is doing all the time. So mostly like what Taylor is being observed at, Taylor is being observed at the shop floor. While the Fayol theories, they are more of it on the management fronts, like it is onto the marketing management, it is onto financial management, so on and so forth. So where kind of we are manufacturing, Taylor theory would be observed, and when it is Fayol, it is more of it onto the management system. So you are not too confused on both the fronts. Like if they ask you, like what is scientific management, and please explain it with few of the theorists. So you have to go ahead with Taylor and Fayol and get into a more of descriptive understanding. Now, see, we have got various other theorists also. So there is one of this kind is Weber. Now, how Weber has put up, he has observed the company, and it is like in terms of power. So where is it related? Everything works with power. Like if it is a powerful orientation, the function of work would be more. So where it is there, it is in different departments in a given organization. So it could be traditional power, it could be a charismatic way of functioning, it is a rational way of functioning. So they are in various ways, like how it is understood or how it is accomplished. So in an administrative function, it's in a hierarchy, like there is a um, singular control, and like underneath that there are various other people who will follow the leader. Then there's a division of work. Division of work is nothing but division of labor, kind of like each task is being finished by uh, different people. It starts at one step, then it further goes to a second step, then it further goes to third step. So this is also division of work, makes it proper and more less of anomalies. Now, officially, there are like rules, the functions are there, there are different rules. Kind of it is strict order, it is disciplinary. There is no lethargy in the work. So that is found that official rules, they actually control the working, the function of the department. So there would be rules which are interrelated. The rules there are which are impersonal. Okay, kind of like which keep you one up in the functional aspect. This is how. An official record is being kept of every, it is being determined, like how your power is flowing, whether it is in the admin type or whether it is in an organizational structure or it's a managerial kind. So the record is being kept. So that free flow has to be just checked. So it's a Weber way. So it is the flow of the power. Needless to say that what is powerful and what is directing the department in a given organization. Now, let's go a bit further in the same thing, like factors which contribute to your efficiency related to anything. Like here, efficiency is that how fast you are doing the work, how calculative it is, like how it is manageable, like if it is downloaded to somebody, whether they would be able to do it that effectively. So here, you are actually telling the employee that what task has to be done, and it's in a very clear factor, like all the working factors are clearly defined. So it could be the rationality aspect, how well it is being proposed to them, how well the records are being maintained. So sometimes these things are like missing. If suppose the flow is like of powerful way of functioning, there is bureaucracy. So what happens is like there then it is a very closed environment. It's a very tense environment, and so what happens is the flow of the order or flow of the proposal, like the task, is not a free flow kind of. Some of the orders are missed, some of the proposals are missed, processes are missed. So there could be an invalid way of functioning it out, invalid way of movement of the decision. This is how. So goals are totally mismanaged, mismatched. This is how. So you could have an like unintended consequence, like what you actually expected is not the final result. So you have to be very careful. If bureaucratic is the way of functioning, when we are saying that it's a powerful whole, like how we said about Weber, Max Weber. So this is what you have to be very careful about. Many organizations do say that we work in the terms of bureaucratic. Like this is more in the centralized way of decision making or a flow of power. Like a single body, central body is there, and it is not allowed. It does not allow rather to others to take a decision all the time. How the paper flows, it is whenever I want something, I'll have to go to the head, and the head will have to ask the consulting, in the sense, the chief officer, and then the whole decision would be done. So there is a delay of decision, there is delay in flow of the decision, in the implementation, everything. Like it is, the flow is totally lagging in the response. So because of this, there are inhuman organizations, or and like it is a closed system perspective. So you have to be very careful in this type. This is, most of it is discontinued in many organizations. More of it is like decentralized, where centrals are more powerful, and like with the other heads, like regional heads, account heads, like that. So there is one more theory, which is contribution of Mary Parker Follett. Follett is one of the theorists, and how has he given his theory? So it's in a term of social system, like you're more in relation with the human, you're more in relation of the social system, and like how you are matching it with the behavior, and how it affects your decision also. So this is how the first thing which will come in this approach would be the human with the social system. Here, social system is what is outside the company. It is not in the company system, but you have to be relevant with the social scenario. And the decision like is made in terms, in tandem with the social system. And it has got a human relation approach. It has got a behavioral approach. Like what will it affect and how will it affect? That is more easier. Then Elton-Meyer, we have always heard, but it's a human relations approach. So social factors in output, workers' social needs, norms, and values, kind of what is the conducive atmosphere for a given worker, and whether it is relevant to the requirement of the worker. So its relevance with its norms, its values, and the social needs. So how do they best assimilate with? So it could be like, what are their basic needs? What are their safety needs? What are their educational needs? What are their shelter needs? What are their education needs? Then what are they are self-actualization needs, like this. And kind of like, if it is offered, so what will be their tendencies? So it is your logical or non-logical behavior. So here, like, this is not just a single worker. In a company, it's a big company. So how it's formed, hundreds of employees are there. So their like influence, that will be a group influence. So you have to see that nothing is short. Whenever you are making the workers work, it is like they are getting everything in abundance. So all the shortfalls have to be overcome. So companies have to work out of all the loopholes, all the shortfalls, and have to give the best to their contributing workers. And here also we are thinking about the leadership qualities. So this leadership quality is for the workers, like the contributive workers. Then it is like their negotiation has to be done, their conflicting handling has to be done, and you have to be very careful about how they are being supervised, or how efficiently they're working under the supervisory condition. Like somebody is there, somebody is there as a leader. So in the group formation, whether they are able to resolve their conflicts, whether they are able to negotiate well, so that efficiency is being checked all the time. And of course, it has to be in tune, in tandem with the communication. So how disciplined they are in the communication, how efficient they are in the communication. So this is how. So it's one of the good theories, Elton Mayan. But if you see that, if you think, if there is a comparative study, in the sense, we just now finished with Taylor Fowle on, like, if we take Elton Mayo, so how different they are from each other, and how they are contributive for the workers. So this could be a good question to answer. So you could prepare it likewise. Yeah, now it is assessment of Hawthorne's experiment. Now, Hawthorne experiment is again for the workers. See, all the management functions, they are based on the workers' way of functioning. So there you have to see that they are working in a conducive atmosphere, because if they are completing their production in the time given, and we are able to offer them a good conducive atmosphere. This is like being proposed by all these theorists. So all the management theories, they are more of relevant to the workers' atmosphere. So that is how. So Fayol has come a bit uh, like during that time period only, but it is more of it is that worker is being more stressed, and they are being pushed out of their stress zones so as to fall in place with the management, kind of getting them more and more effective and getting them more and more efficient. This is how. So social systems approach, how is it? So Wilfredo Pareto, you must have heard of this name also. It is also very familiar in the management systems. So an organization is a social system, a system of cultural relationships. So all the time, like, tuning of the organization is in relevance with the social system, and how is its culture being followed. So relationship exists among the external as well as the internal environment of the organization. I've been telling that there are two working environments. So kind of how they get together. And there is no conflict in the two environments. So they do not disturb the working system of the worker, or like that. So cooperation among the group members is necessary for the achievement of an organizational objective. For effective management, effort should be made for establishing harmony between the goals of the organization and goals of the various groups therein. So here, all the time, every like content of the working environment has to be in tune with each other. So if anything raises conflicting opinion, then it will be like disturbing the working environment. So it is saying that it has to fall in place. It should be at peace with each other. Harmony is nothing but the peace. So these pieces of the goals, these pieces are the achievement of the objectives. This is how. So group wise goals have to be there, and there have to be a good equation between the management and the worker as such, and with the society as such. Yeah, one more theorist. So it is the contribution of Barnard. So what did Barnard say? His book is on the functions of the executive. So more of it is now on the management side. So where we had actually spoken a bit about the workers as a possibility and how they should have an effective condition. Here we are more on the managerial output. So how it should be more determined. So there are concepts of organizations, like consciously there, what is the coordination? It will be between two or further between more people, whether we should have like formal or more informal organizations. Like then in the organization, like what would be the system of the department, system of incentive systems. So system of departments is nothing but the functional department. So marketing would have a marketing department, so on and so forth. And system of incentives, who would govern system of incentives? So it is from the HR. Like system of power, how would it flow? So system of power would be whether it is determined for each department in particular. Okay. So, and then logical decision making. So this logical decision making would not be a different department altogether, but it would be a functional aspect of each and every department. So then he propounded acceptance theory of authority, like whether you are uh, accepting the aspect that authority should be there. Okay, like in formal organizations, there is no authority. Everybody is kind of owners to their particulars and what their way of functioning. But that is like it is a way of like haywire. It is called mentioning each and sundry like that. So there is an acceptance theory that there has to be an authority, and this authority would actually govern a set of people, and then they will talk it over, and they will direct the people. They will be the decision makers like that. So the authority flow has to be there. Then functions of the executive. So full-fledged authority is there. Under that, there would be executives, and their executives' tasks need to be defined. And if they should not come saying that I do not know what the work is or what the power of his work, and like where, how does it flow, till what end, this is how. And when we say that what are the motivators, motivators are what governs, in the sense, how does he pull to the task or how does he finish the task? So this is also, there are the governing factors. So these would be their motivating factors. So that could be the authority, that could be the manager, that could be the executive by themselves. So these motivators need to be known. Now, executive effectiveness has also been thought properly. So how well Bernard has thought about the functions of the executive. So this is actually the management aspect. But how do we do a management decision making? How a governing of the management body is being done? So executive effectiveness is required. So that's the main pull. Like if you have a goal, then how effectively he puts the goal into work and how does it finish properly. Then the whole function of the equilibrium. The task has been given like to the various executives, to the various columns of the company, but whether that task is being finished properly, like whether the equilibrium is achieved, it is constant and it's working for prosperity. So these are all the aspects which he has thought of in the concept of a given organization. So it's a good theory. Then we've got decision theory approach. So decision theory approach would be more concentrated on the decisions, like whether a decision has been given, how fast, like there has been aspect of problem solving. So how fast? So various decision centers, kind of if a task comes up, a problem comes up to the company. So what are its decision centers and how the decision making is being done. So whether you are able to identify the problems in a particular situation and how fast, whether it's a quality decision or it's a decision which is not being put into action. So aspect is of a subject matter study. So how well you are being able to define your objective to a goal, and then how matter of factly you take it to the conclusion. So it's just a decision theory approach. It is not for uh, a whole of the company or the whole of the organization as such. So in a particular department, if a particular decision is to be taken, so what's the approach? So it's a theory approach related to decisions. So there are some beautiful other scientists, like management scientists, theorists, who have put up the contributions of Herbert Simon. So concept of organization. So he has done it with respect to decision making. What is bounded rationality? Like bounded is by there is this circle of reference. So in that, how much of it you are able to rationalize. So think tank is in a marketing department. So what is the binding? There are just two executives and one authority, higher authority. So how beautifully you are able to rationalize for a given task, for a given problem. Then there is an administrative man who would, how he takes up the administration, the organizational communication, sorry. So this is contribution of Herbert Simon. So he has also put up few of the theories, but it is related to the decision making, bounded rationality, administrative person, and organizational communication. So these are the few disciplines on which his concept of organization functions or flows. Yes, Peter Drucker's management. So it's by management by objectives. So how the nature of management should be, what should be the management functions, what should be an organization structure. Now, federalism, kind of pure aspect of the federalism is to be there, and it is more of management additional changes. Drucker has got a free flow to the management. It is new management, like most of it is like mostly practiced, highly practiced is the Peter Drucker's management. So what are his thrust points? He looks into the nature of the management. What should be the management like? What should be the management functions? He beautifully defines the changes, like what should be the organization changes. Like management as a function, we say change as a management function, and every aspect of the management should be working by objectives. That's the two thrust points which gave him the boost. So here, like every management function is directed by the objectives. So there is for every function, they define few objectives and they need to be taken to task. So this is for daily work, this could be for weekly work, this could be for monthly work. So by objectives. So every manager has got objectives to work to. So nothing is like just just like anybody could look into the task, or it is like tasks not defined properly. So they have to be taken to end. As we said that there is aspect of planning, organization. So there, these objectives need to be set according to that. And every day you have to show that, yes, you have done it. So as a thumb rule, like the smallest of the matter is your daily schedule, daily planner. Then at the end of the day, if you have been able to accommodate with the figures, with the charts like that. So these are all aspects of management by objectives. So what are the kind of organizational changes? So these do keep happening. This could be human resource changes, this could be functional changes, this could be product change, this could be major strategy change. So they are all organizational changes. So how do you adopt to them? How do you come back with better results, your aspect of efficiency and effectiveness, whether it is moving further ahead on the chart. So these are called contributions of Peter Drucker. So how Peter Drucker has defined the management. Now, behavioral approach, it is a McGregor's theory, X and Y. So what it is, X and Y are the two components, and how do they coordinate in the McGregor theory? And Maslow's self-actualization theory is where I have just now put it up, like how do you actualize? This is functional for the manager, this is an output for the worker. Herzberg's motivation theory is like what motivates you the most, like what should be given. So kind of like for HR, like it is one of the best examples. How do you acquire the performance award factor? So it's a motivation theory to get the people going. So it happens for the managers, it happens for the workers, it happens for the system outside also. So it's a function of what motivates you the most. So here, like, see, few of the examples are like major propositions of human behavior, whether people like work or they dislike work. So what new could be done? And there is an aspect of whether you are self-directed or you need some authority to control. There's a self-control or there's a creativity aspect, whether you're able to untap a human potential. So these are all aspects of behavioral approach. We did classic theory. We have come to the behavioral approach theory. So here, this aspect is like, what are the various behaviors which need to be tapped and has to be brought up in a person. Okay, so this could be their features which could be picked up. So these three are one of the best theories for the behavioral approach. Okay, now contemporary approaches to management. So the best is McKinsey's 7 approach, where we have got a 7S analysis, like what is the system, what is the skills required. So these are the 7S approach. We'll be doing it a bit later. So here, see, this is an excellence model, which is actually related to the productivity, to the quality issues, to the quantitative approach, to the systems approach, then the contingency approach. So other things like other approaches, they define themselves. What is contingency? Contingency is something like if totally different happens, like something which is not being expected or you do not know. So there is an alternate way to function it out. So excellence model is like all the time your approach is towards excellence. Productivity is not saying, nonetheless, it is like towards the productivity. It should be profitable. So quality issues are there. What are the quantity? What is the quantity you are being producing? What are the systems you are implementing? So this is how. Now, quantitative approach management is regarded as the problem-solving mechanism with the help of mathematical tools and techniques. Management problems can be described in terms of mathematical symbols and data. Thus, every managerial activity can be quantified. So what is the quantitative approach? Quantitative approaches, all the time you're thinking in terms of quantity. So you speak about qualitative. So what is qualitative approach? Qualitative approach is like what is the quality of the product, but quantitative is like how much quantity has been obtained. Okay, so this could be like today, if 4 pieces have been told, so 4 has been obtained. If it is possible to maximize like more than that. So these are all more of an mathematical approach. So control factors are whether you are able to deploy everything in numbers. So all your data restrictions are there, quantity restrictions are there, then number analysis is there. So here you are actually talking about putting the facts and figures onto chart. That is, so rationalizing everything. So the decisions are working on the numbers which you have accumulated, on the data which you have accumulated, and it is then quantifying, it is researching on that and picking up some more decisions. This is how. Okay, so this could be done through operations research, through tools, through quantitative techniques and basic methodologies to solve the managerial problems. Okay, so feature of a system, what are the things? This is the system defined. So what could a system say? It is a system, full-fledged system, but under the system, there are various other subsystems. So whether they are interactive, they're related, so many words are there to it. So coexistence, whether they are existing together. Cohesive means like without conflicts, they're in tune with each other. Like whether, what is the brain game? They are able to interact with each other. They are able to introduce data. The coordinate is like a good input to each system. Then they are able to put up a good output, good reaction. This is how. So cohesive system. So nowhere they are spilling out of the seams, like bursting out of the system. Okay, so this is how core system is like a system, and a extra benefit has been added to it, so they are dependent on each other. So core system. Open system is something which is open to the outsiders. A closed system is something which is not open. Very simple. So these are the various systems which are actually a feature of a system. So it's called a system approach. So it's again a management approach for a system. Okay, and this is how the open and closed system have been defined. So for an open system, what would you put up? These are the various disciplines. Like if um, a manufacturing unit in taken, it's totally import oriented. So what are the imports there? Then what is the calculation from input to output? Whether in a system, what are the cycle of events? Cycle of events are nothing but the procedures, the processes which are there. Then negative entropy you have to check, because there nobody should come across anything like negative, in the sense there are damages, there are mistaken identities, or there is a false way of doing a process. So these are all called negative entropies. Then feedback system is there because how do you tune into the whole system? You need to have a process, you need to have a flow, and it should give you a proper feedback that it is a relevant system, it's a positive system. So that feedback has to be there. So nowhere it should say that it's a negative entropy, or it's miscalculated, or it would lead to some catastrophe, or it is mismanaged. This is how. So a feedback system should say, it should imply that this is the one of the finest of the systems. Then steady state has to be there for every company. What is the business saying? It's actually a management theory, an approach, that there has to be a humdrum. Okay, fine. We always say that it should be a success chart growing upwards. But if it is a steady state, where we are no profit, no loss, or we are breaking even, so that's quite okay. It's a humdrum economy, so steady state. And differentiation could be obtained, like if you're doing beautifully well, you're doing very well actually, so success chart is like just steep high. So you could do a product differentiation. And if suppose, yes, a state is so that there is a stagnant state, or it's a maturity state, there you could go ahead with a differentiation. So these could be through integrations, these could be through coordinations, what you are actually come to know as collaborations, alliances. So this is how. And finally, there is a equi-finality state. That's a final stage, equity state. Like you're equalizing everything. It's an equalizer. So to the competition, to the social concerns, to the inputs. So this is how. So governing factors. So this is what is the best of it. Fine. Now closed system, no interaction, self-contained, self-maintained, mechanical in nature. So these are the systems where you have got closed systems. You cannot do much about it. Nothing, like no outside concern is required here, because see, best of the examples is robotic system. It's a self-contained system. It is differently called as garbage in, garbage out. So what is the function? Like what is the social concern? What is the extra outside concern to do about it? Nothing. So it is full-fledged system by itself. So what is being tuned to it will work. So it is called an automatic system, mechanical in nature. So they are closed systems. So nothing of the outside is required. Once you feed the information, it comes there as an output. So no extra requirement. So there is no supplier aspect, no retailer aspect, or a wholesaler aspect. No human concern is required for the system to work. So this is how. And then there are subsystems for every function. One big system is there, finish, it doesn't happen. There have to be small processes. So there are, in a big system, they would be called as subsystems. You must have heard of ecosystem, and just refer to a few other things like a core system. So here see, it is a power subsystem, it's a social subsystem. So what are the things which are getting connected to the subsystem? It's a technical subsystem, it's a social aspect like the society function, then it's a power subsystem. This is or a managerial aspect. So this is how. So managing a social system, how does management look in a social system? So then it becomes an open system. Management till now, it was in the company, behind the doors, inside the doors, better word is inside the doors, then it's a closed system. But when it moves out, like today's system is there, like we call it as CSR, okay, we tune into corporate ethics. So there, then this is called as social system. So it is more open system. So we are more towards the environment, we are more towards the mm, customer, we are more towards the utility. So it's called an open system, and it is behavioral to the adaptation model. It is behavioral to the dynamism of the society, of the culture, and more of it is universal. And here, what we say is that it is, these are few of the, like again, fine words to explain what actually the management as a social system is existing. So we say that it is more happening. What is probabilistic? It is more happening. Like it is everybody's concern. It is like more obligatory. It is tuned to what is customers' requirement. It is again and again coming to the aspect like uh, asking the customer, what do you require, what do you want, this is how. So, and this function would be at various levels, like best of the examples would be for the supply chain management or the operations. So there, what we are tuning to is like so many variables are there for a supplier. For every product, a different supplier is required. Okay, the chain is different, the logistics is different. So it's like so many aspects to it. So how do you approach it? So what is the operation about? How do you get it to the customer? So there are so many other aspects of logistics, warehouse, then the uh, market to where it sells, and then the ultimate customer. So here, then at what level, what type of management should you refer to, or what would be the controlling factors? How and how best you utilize this function? So this would be by maximum force deployment, okay, maximum availability. So this is so there are actually multivariables, so many variables. Kind of when you're thinking in this of a chain like supply chain. So what are the various variables? If these are the factors basically which would be conducive to your atmosphere, like what should be kept it stagnant, or what should be made a bit up, or what should be made a bit down. These are your variables, like how will you look competitive in the market for a particular product in a particular strata in a particular segment. So this is how. And there is most of it, like there is an integrated approach. You see, for logistics, they do an integrated approach, like what three things have come together and they are proposing it to a system. Or for supply chain, how do they integrate? Like what are the various processes? So um, that is how they move on to the market, how they propose themselves to a customer, okay, to a seller. So they always justify their various procedures, their processes, like efficiency, effect. I'm just saying like efficiency and effectiveness. There are slogans with how they propose. So see, one of the companies, I just yesterday I saw the board. It is known as Procedure Logistics. So, what does it procedure by name? It is said as PROSEGEUR. So, this procedure is also the procedure by which the logistics actually flows. So, this is how. So, they always imply, on the container. So, the name implies like how fast it would be moving, how in the best of the ways it would be moving, like this is how. So they are all various approaches. And what are the various approaches? So 3PL model is there, so program logistics is there, so an integrated approach. So this is all management as a social system. How does it get into the operations? How does it get into the bandwidth, like today's atmosphere, today's competitive environment? So this is how. Okay. Fine. So contingency approach, I have given you the reference, like it is the alternate plan. So you could just go through this slide whenever you reopen this presentation. Okay, and relationship between systems and the contingency approach. So uh, all the systems, they should have a plan, contingency plan whenever they're proposing. So it could be a model for the human being, for the various variables, and how it has evolved. So these are all the directives of the various systems, like how the company has evolved. So this is how they have evolved with the various factors of the objectives of the goals. So this is what you have to explain. Okay, this I would not take because it's not required too much of explanation. Yeah. So there is a Michael Porter's model. Porter, you must be knowing, I suppose, with the competitive advantage model or a five force model. So here I would just explain you the five forces model. So this is functional with what a company has to face, like what Porter says. Like every company, when it comes the first time, a kind of is in business, so they have to face a few of the forces which try to get them down or try to downsize them. So these are governmental forces, these are suppliers forces, these are customers forces, then and these are suppliers. So in all, what they try to do is like they try to bring you down. All the time there are some misgivings of the forces, and sometimes they try to uh, take you down. Like if one of the supplier is not in a conducive state of affairs, or customer has gone in bad behavior, or government, like how they say that their um, function is not in tune, or suppose there is an aspect of the raw material situation, company's situation, or the employee's situation. So these are all various forces which try to pull you in and out. Okay, so concern is that your like cohesive situation of the system, like with the society or with the external environment or the internal environment or the manpower. So they are all in a tussle. So how various components have to be adjusted to get them into a working situation, like as we said in a humdrum stable situation. So value chain are the various strategic value chain which you develop for your functional abilities. Or generic business is for medical selling, like medicine, they have got generic business strategies. It's not necessary, but most of the examples, good examples, exist in the um, healthcare. So this is also competitive advantage is one more where you would be competitive, or how you should be competitive. Like for products like woolen clothes, they are competitive only in some season, kind of like winter season. So if winter season is over, where to sell? So you would move on to a global selling. So that's a competitive advantage you apply for a product. So best of the examples they have given for tea or coffee, like how the plantation could be switched over on a agricultural ground. You could go for different seeds, or you could just retail the land for the competitive advantage. Throughout the year, it is not proposed. So this is how. So these are the competitive advantages with various lines of products. So how do you obtain that? Now here one more is Prahlad's story. So it's of bottom of pyramid, like how to get a strategic stretch or leverage with the like needs available. For example, the best of the scenarios came with the rural environment. So how to uh, extract maximum benefit from the rural environment, how to provide them with the best of the benefits, how to deploy the labor force. So this is how. So it is like trying to extract their core competence, their strategic intent, and then getting them like employ as a function, and of course towards a better output. So rural companies have come in, or products best of the entities in the rural environment. So fine. Now we have finished with this. I'll pick up another chapter. This is for scope. yeah, this is for social responsibility and ethics. So uh, in a management, like what is the fundamental? We are uh, more possible to the outer environment with respect to the social responsibility and the ethics. So every company as a concern need to have their business values. Yeah. So it is a responsibility towards the society. The society consists of uh, members of their own company, like their employees, of course. Then there are, I had said that there are owners, there are bankers, there are entrepreneurs. Then there are customers. So they can always come back saying that it's not a good company or you're not a good product. Why are you selling? Like, and it's for no rhyme or reason, whether however justified it must be. So that concern has to be always justified. So here, whenever a businessman makes a decision further, like we are starting a unit, we are coming up with a big company, they have to always justify their responsibility to the people, to the society. So that is like in terms of so many people, like social, economical, technical, financial, and people as such. People would be from different regions, there would be different religions, cultures, norms, how they think. It's their instinct, their behavior. So it has to be in tune with that. So they think differently for a given product. Mostly like when the food products come in, when the beverages come in, when clothes come in, vehicles are there, foreign brand products are there. Like even the competition, you have to um, justify the competition, you have to justify the ownership, like the export quality of the product, import quality of the products, the ethics of the product. Like sometimes these products are totally like how Western clothing came to Indian market. So they do not justify the Indian culture. Indian culture says saris are good, salwar kameez are good. So this is how, and girls are not supposed to wear Western clothes. So people come out saying they are enraged, and they always say that they're in commotion, saying that this is not justified. But yes, somehow, like with the liking of the people or showing the requirement when it where it is required, they have come up with a good success rate Western clothing. So, but then this is all an aspect of you have to be favorable to the responsibility factor, social responsibility. It's called ethics